And good morning, and welcome to a very special edition of Truth to Power. This is another one of those shows that I can't say the word special enough to be able to talk about my guests that I have on the show today. But before we get started, just want to say that this is Friday. Everybody is so excited because of the fact that they made it through another week. And I do want to say this too, that my deepest congratulations go out to the Detroit Pistons. I want to say, in the words of John Mason, Detroit basketball. And we were very, very fortunate to have another victory. So now, if we can keep up that momentum when we go to Cleveland, I think that the Pistons may be moving on to the next series, and hopefully they'll be moving on to the next series after that. That could be a national championship for the Detroit Pistons. I think we're probably in the mode to see another repeat of what the Pistons did back during the Isaiah Thomas days, back during the Ben Wallace days, and others. So we're just fortunate that everybody will get an opportunity to root the Pistons on. So again, we definitely want to let everyone know we are really very, very supportive of our Detroit team. So today we have a very, very, very special guest, and a lot of you probably know this product that we have here in the front, and it is probably remedied a lot of what ails you, especially if you've got any pains that could be related to arthritis or anything that could be something that could have kind of kept you down. But this product will pick you back up again. And we have the family that has originated this product. And on the phone, we also have one of the other family members on with us as well. But without further ado, let me introduce James Anderson and his lovely wife, Darcel Sewell Anderson. And on the phone, I do believe we have Brother Doug Anderson.
I'm here.
Brother Doug Sewell.
Yeah, you got it. I'm here.
Can you hear me, Doug?
Yeah, can you hear me okay?
Yes, I think we can hear you pretty good. But I just want to go and give James an opportunity to introduce you, introduce the family, and then Doug, I'll let you take it over from there. So James, I'll turn this over to you and just talk a little bit about Ringmaster rubbing oil.
Okay. You mentioned Doug is the chairman of the board, and he took over. He's been with the company all of his entire life, so it's not like he started at a certain time. We're a family business. We all work together. This is my wife, Darcel, and she's
I'm the youngest of the crew, so go ahead.
Yeah, she's the youngest of the crew, but she's a fierce force. I mean, she can get out there and get things done. And so let me turn over to Doug. We've been around since 1950, and there's a great story that's been we've been published on TV shows, et cetera, of how Ringmaster started back in 1950, and maybe a little before, maybe 49, but it started from a dream. Doug will tell you more about that, and my wife Darcel. But Mr. Sewell, I love dearly. The product came to him how to mix it from a dream from Dr. George Washington Carver. It's an amazing story. Mm-hmm. And so, hey, Doug, I'd like to turn it over to you, if that's good right now.
Well, you know what? Darcel is also the storyteller. So, we just did an event with Twisted Storytellers, and Darcel told a pretty interesting story about Dr. Carver and how Pops met him in a dream and got the formula for the Ringmaster product. So, Darcel, can you tell us a little bit about that story?
Sure. In 1950, our father had been trying to mix a formula for like 3 years, and it never worked. And so one day, when he was falling asleep at midnight, the TV used to go off with a circle when we were children, and it would go on and on to let you know the TV stations were signing off for the night.
Well, they had their little test pattern
Yes,
at the end,
yes,
right?
yes. And that was what Daddy said he was remembering looking at as the TV went off. He said that he had read the Bible for like an hour before he had fallen asleep. And he said as he'd fallen asleep and he began to dream, he said that Dr. George Washington Carver, a person that he had met before when he was a young man, and he had asked him to guess how many peanuts were in a jar. My father said he was too busy doing something else to stop to count peanuts. So that was his first time of meeting Dr. Carver. So he recognized him. So he says as he dreamed in his sleep, Dr. Carver came through the circle from the TV. You know, he came through the circle in his dream from the TV. And Daddy said, Frank, you're having a hard time mixing the formula. If you come with me, I'll show you what you're doing. And our father knew that Dr. Carver was very dead. And he said that he wasn't going to go with anyone that was dead because he knew better. You know, he's not going to do that. So he said that he awakened from his dream and began to read the Bible some more. And so then he fell back to sleep. And Dr. Carver came back. And he says, Frank, if you go with me, I'll bring you back. And Daddy said, okay, you bring me back. So Daddy went with him to his laboratory. And the entrance, my father says, was very interesting because it was just one door and two windows on both sides of the door that had curtains on them. And you couldn't see anything but the door and the two windows with curtains. And so Father said he was looking around. But anyway, went on into the laboratory. Dr. Carver showed him what he was doing wrong, basically. And so Daddy came back from out of the dream, and he went down to Hastings Street, I guess it was. The Barthwells had a pharmacy down there. And he asked the Barthwell pharmacist to order certain ingredients for him. And he did. So 3 days later, our father came back and picked up the ingredients, and he gave it to the sea captain's wife. The sea captain had had amputation on his leg, and he cried all night. And she said, his wife, that he cried all night, and she cried with him because she loved him and she knew he was in pain. And so they did this for 7 years. And so the pharmacist knew about it, and Daddy knew about it. So anyway, Daddy mixed the ingredients, and he gave it to the sea captain's wife. And she came back a few days later and said that her husband, had slept all night long, and he didn't cry, and she didn't cry, and they were so happy because the pain had settled and calmed down. So then Daddy knew that he had the formula. And Doug, you want to talk about how Dad went on the road?
Yeah, what would happen, and this began a series of events that occurred over many, many years. But what he would do, he had an old Ford, and with a big old trunk in it, and he used to load it up with the Ringmaster product, and he would take off for the South. And my father was very much a spiritualist. He was an ordained minister, and very much a humanitarian. So he would travel throughout the South, giving away product. He would sell it. He would pray with people. He would evangelize and try to make them feel better. In fact, he was on a mission of mercy, as he would tell us when we were kids. But along the way, he had his old tape recorder, and he would record testimonies from people for a couple of reasons. One, he wanted to know about the efficacy of the product, but he also wanted to know what were the stories. And some of the stories were amazing. By the time he had passed away, he had about 3,000 hours of audio and videotape. I did the videotaping. He did the audio. In fact, Darcel at her home, she has a cabinet that's about maybe 6 feet tall that's full of audio tapes. I don't know, Darcel, I don't think you have any videotapes there. Maybe my brother, who is the keeper of the videotapes, he has those. But some of the stories, if they weren't on audio and videotape, nobody would believe them. But there were some, for example, my father had received the Pathfinders Award, which was given out by the state of Michigan for people who led the way for future generations. And there was a lady on the Diaz whose husband had been curled up like in a fetal position for a long time. He had an accident at his job, And she was kind of angry over the fact that he was wetting the bed and just wouldn't get up. So we said to her, we want you to take the Ringmaster product and we want you to apply it to him, but we want you to pray with him and we want you to tell him that you love him. And so she did that, and they called the next day and she said, he's up. And so, of course, we took the video camera out to Pontiac, Michigan, and we videotaped the story. And in fact, we did it twice just to collaborate the story. But he was one of many people. In fact, I just had a lady, and these are stories really, we don't, some of the things that we tell people, we don't actually promote those things because they're kind of a little bit off-center. And for some people, they may not believe us or think we're making this stuff up. So, but for example, my father, whose grandfather was a street corner preacher, and he could not read nor write, but through a divine revelation, he was able to read the Protestant Bible fluently. And so my father used to make a lot of fun of him because he couldn't read nor write. But when my father took ill, his grandfather came to the hospital and made him, and the two of them prayed all night that if he survived the night, that he would commit his life to helping other people. So that was the thing that was one of the things that inspired him to do this, to work with people. But when he would make the product, he would pray over it for at least 3 days. And even when he did that, we were pretty young and we didn't believe a lot of the stuff that he told us. So, but one day I decided that I was going to take a bunch of those tapes home, and I was going to try to find out what was the correlation between these people. Why were they telling these stories? Because it just didn't make any sense to me. So I finally came to the conclusion that the prayer had a lot to do with it. And I don't know, Darwin, if you remember, do you remember when that Eastern Airlines plane crashed in the Florida Everglades?
Yes, I do.
In fact,
yes, I do.
Jim worked for him. Jim, you just started working for him, didn't you, when the plane crashed?
Jim.
What's that, Doug? I could hear you.
Doug was talking about the airplane crash. What year was that?
Actually, I was working for, I had not started. I started in January. That plane crash happened, I think, in December. And, of course, I knew nothing. I heard about the crash, and it didn't have the impact on me. But I actually met people later on that knew people that died in that crash. So,
well yeah. And the reason I bring that up, Darwin, is because the one of the things that happened was that the airlines would harvest some of the parts from the plane that had not been damaged, and they would put them in the new planes that they were building. So a lot of the people who were flying the Eastern Airlines planes would see the apparitions or the ghosts from the downed plane. And in fact, it happened so often until they stopped using those parts. And I give that as an example of how with prayer you can incarnate energy into a particular liquid. And so those people that were seen on the plane, their spirits, their energies were incarnated into the parts of the plane that were that were in the crash. So it's possible, and we still do, and we still have our prayer vigils when we make the product, but we don't promote that, with people. We know that to be one of the reasons why it's such an effective product.
Wow.
Well,
one thing that I wanted to ask you too, Doug, and Darcel and James, is that I know when you came to the station today that there was a big, connection, Darcel, between you and our station manager, Miss Willis.
Yes.
And, and I think, James, when we were talking, on the phone prior to doing the show, I think you made mention about asking me did I know Brady Keys.
Brady, yes.
And I just want you to tell, because as R.J. Watkins, our station owner, and Maxine Willis, they have a long relationship with Brady Keys. But can you tell, James Darcel, Doug, about your relationship with Brady Keys?
Well, the relationship is a great relationship. But my wife can tell you. How do you tell about Brady's mother used a product,
I
correct?
think Douglas has a better story than I do. He knows more details. Douglas, are you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Could you tell the
Well,
story about Brady Keys' mother?
Oh yeah, well yeah. His one of the reasons why he liked our father so much was because our product had helped his mother, and helped to relieve her pain, and he became attached to us because of what it did for his mother, and so we had a long relationship with him. In fact, he used to, when he had his radio station down in Georgia. He would let us come on the station, and we'd have a ball. I mean, we would just invite people from the public to come to the station and to meet my father, and it was just it's a glorious relationship. Well, one of the stories that Brady told me was about his mother was that when he had gone to the hospital when she was sick, he had gone to the hospital to see his mother, and when he left her room, he decided for some reason, he said, let me go back to her room. And when he went back to her room, she had passed, and he said he saw her spirit ascending up from her body at that moment. And I thought that was just amazing. But for the most part, Brady was always very helpful to us. He was just a great guy. And we spent a lot of time going back and forth to Georgia to see him, and he would come up here because he had business interest here, so we would enjoy his company.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
He's the one who invented the phrase "have it your way"
Right.
at the Burger King.
Yeah.
He came up with that concept, and it really
Yeah.
worked and went over very well. So he's quite the person.
Yeah.
So talk a little bit about some of the, Brady Keys was one, but talk about some of the other people that may have given testimonies. Any other prominent names that you can mention that you probably, can talk about the product?
Yeah. In fact, we have a letter from Eleanor Roosevelt because she had broken her leg and my father had sent her product. We have a letter from Winston Churchill's secretary, just giving thanks for having received the product. We've got at least 50 radio interviews that we've done around the country to tell the stories. But there's so many people that have stories, but some of the stories are kind of like unexpected. Like I had a lady recently who had COVID, and she had lost her sense of smell. And she said the only thing that she can now smell is the Ringmaster product. And that's because of the...
That is so funny, Douglas.
Yeah, and it's because of the wintergreen. Wintergreen is the active ingredient, and wintergreen is like an aspirin derivative. So with the Ringmaster product, with the wintergreen and with the peanut oil is a natural pain reliever by itself. Then when you mix that with the wintergreen, you get a very potent product. As a matter of fact, funny story, or like a fun fact. My father, my brothers and I, we have two brothers, Frank and Bruce. We never believed anything he said when we were growing up. And so one time he was telling us how strong the product was, and that's why it's in a glass bottle. But we decided we were going to lather our private parts up with the product just to see how strong it was. Big mistake. It lit us up like a Christmas tree, and we had to run outside and into the backyard where there was some snow still left on the ground, and had to pull our pants down to our ankles and just lay in the snow. And it taught us a big lesson about how strong the product is, So, but aside from that, there's stories. Channel 7 came out and did a story where there was a lady who had been in a wheelchair and she couldn't walk, and she had diabetic neuropathy in her legs, and they filmed her actually walking after having used our product for a period of time. We have a lady, I won't forget her, Miss Moon. Miss Moon couldn't walk to her mailbox for at least 3 years, and her son came to her and he massaged her legs, and that was the first time she was able to walk to her mailbox.
Douglas, excuse me.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think? What do you think happens with a person when they use the Ringmaster? What do you think happens? What about the synovial fluid that's between the bone and the cartilage?
Well, actually, it's an anti-inflammatory. If people get arthritis, which is just one of many pains that people get, you need an anti-inflammatory agent, and that's what our product is. It's an anti-inflammatory agent. But one of the things that we've noticed over the years is that women tend to get knee problems very early. Well, I would say earlier than men do, and that's one of the most frequent reasons why they purchase our product. You can find it on the counter on the pharmacy counter at CVS. It's in about 50 of their stores, but you can find it on Amazon as well and on our website. But we just find that, in fact, it's funny because a lot of times people will be standing there at the pharmacy counter, and I may be there restocking the product or something like that, and then we'll start talking about it. So over the last years or so, we've compiled about 30 testimonies from people who actually videoed those people telling their stories, and it took me about 3 months of listening to the audio tapes before I became totally convinced about the efficacy and the effectiveness of the product itself. And I try to be careful not to overstate or overdo it, when I'm telling people about the product, because they might think I'm just making this stuff up. So, but it keeps repeating itself over and over. Jim, Jim was in a class, Darwin, recently, and the instructor, what did he say, Jim?
Well, yeah, I was at a class about marketing recently, and I'm thinking I'm just going to go to this class and learn more about marketing. And
what was the name of the class?
It was just a computer class, but it was for marketing. That was basically the name of it. And I had the product there, and about 3 or 4 people. So I used that product, and one young man was 19 years old, and he said, I was standing at CVS, and I was in pain because he had tried other products, and he said something about it. He said, just told me to try this product. 19 years old, and so he said that he tried it, and it immediately worked. And that's what I tell people. I said, Ringmaster, I have my elevator pitch, because I'm the senior sales executive for the company. I said, it does 3 things. It stops the pain, it increases your circulation, and it increases your mobility. And when the body starts getting that circulation, the body's always trying to heal itself anyway, what they call homeostasis, and then with Ringmaster, it's kind of like that helper. It helps you get over the hump. And I think about all the people. I ran track, and I remember I was in a state championship meet, and I was one of the fastest guys out there. Of course, that was 100 years ago. But I got a Charlie horse in the 100-yard dash, and I didn't make it. Was not able to. I was one of the people expected to win that race. If I had Ringmaster,
you would have ran and won.
I would have. In fact, Carl Lewis used the Ringmaster in the Olympics.
Was that right?
In Atlanta, and because Brady knew him, and Carl had an issue with his, because he did the long jump and all that, and I know that Brady was able to give it to him and say, "Hey, Here it is.
And the trainer, massaged him with
You massage it, and they had, they had the people that do the massages and everything
Actually
there.
got back behind where the Olympics were.
Yeah, right there. Brady. That's one of the advantages of having a relationship with a person like
Oh,
Brady,
absolutely.
with Brady Keys. Anyway, Carl Lewis used the product, and anyway, it was a success. I mean, so
And then there's Muhammad Ali.
Muhammad Ali.
So we got a whole litiny of people.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
Malcolm X.
Eleanor
We have
Roosevelt,
Malcolm X.
Right.
Winston Churchill, Muhammad Ali.
Malcolm X.
Malcolm X.
Malcolm X used it as
Yeah.
well.
Oh no,
Back then, it's a
they
good
would come
story.
by the house and purchase. They would stand on the corner and sell Ringmaster.
Bean pies and
You like the bean pies?
So they would-
We're way back.
Is that right?
And,
We've done
uh,
business 76 years,
so-
so we have a history, a long time.
So
history.
Malcolm X would come to the house now, and you remember when they would put the quarters in the
Cigar
boxes,
Yeah.
and literally buy the product.
with those
And
coins.
his brother, what was his brother? Was it Melvin?
Douglas.
Oh, I forgot. He had two brothers. I forgot.
I think
One of
Melvin
them
was one of them.
worked for Art Van. And the other
Uh-huh.
one worked for the phone company. But
Okay.
I'm forgetting their names. But yeah, they were-
Roscoe was that his brother's name? Roscoe.
Well,
No,
Roscoe was the
Roscoe
trainer.
was Daddy's friend at the masjid. He was the captain of the masjid,
Ah.
Roscoe X.
Oh.
Okay.
But that's how Muhammad Ali started using it, because Muhammad Ali, he was becoming a Muslim, and so he had to sell the product as well. And but also his trainer was also responsible for making or using the product on him. That's why he was able to sting like a butterfly. But
Flow like a bee, right?
Doug, Emmanuel Stewart was about the product all the time in cases
Yeah.
for the training. He's a trainer.
With all the crunk boxes, the
Yeah,
boxes,
yes.
Tommy Hearns and Joe
Those-
McKenty and all the other
Emmanuel, he was a wonderful man, Emmanuel Stewart. Doug, you remember all that, right?
Oh yeah. Because Emmanuel Stewart and I had a long talk about 6 months before he passed away.
Uh-huh.
But we used to have a lot of nice talks. He was a great guy.
But it's just so interesting because I think about a lot of the basketball, the football players, and baseball players, and others. Do you have any schools, any colleges, or any places that that pretty much like live by giving the ringmaster to their athletes?
Well, we've had them from time to time. In other words, sometimes I found out that coaches would come to CVS and buy bottles for their players,
Mhm.
but so we've had them off and on. But we don't have any celebrity sports people that we are aware of. But we know that over the years they've come to our place and they've bought the product and so forth, and they of course buy it from CVS or other sources. But that's going to be one of our. In fact, one of the players, Parnell Sewell, is somebody we need to talk to because he is with the Lions, and he's got the same last name that we have. So maybe there's some relationship or something.
Exactly.
Yeah, maybe.
Right.
Yeah.
That's true.
Yeah, I think that because I know I see Panay Sewell in the on the field, and maybe the thing is what's his name, Jameer Gibbs, or maybe when we see them go down on the sideline nursing an injury or something like that, maybe we can
Stage it, huh?
stage it right and run out there with some
Exactly.
ringmaster.
Uh-huh.
And
Yeah, that'd be a great
because
movie.
it's interesting how you see a lot of the athletes promote attorneys or law firms and
yeah.
things like that. So maybe they could go and be one that kind of like and then just like you see Shaquille and Charles Barkley,
Right.
And Shaq.
supporting certain
And
right,
Shaq, yeah.
and supporting certain things, so
That
that
would be wonderful.
instead of being their product, let it be Ringmaster, that they
Exactly.
can promote.
Well, yeah. As a matter of fact, Brady had some injuries. I think back injuries from when he played with Pittsburgh Steelers,
Mhm.
and he used to. I mean, we would have to give it to him by the gallon, because he would.
Yeah,
use it all
2
the
and 3
time,
cases at a time.
So there's a lot of athletes who have some post career injuries that they kind of follows along with them. They just don't get away with all that bumping and carrying on
Yeah,
without
right.
being hurt. So, but you're right though. We need to that's one of our next goals is to make some efforts in some inroads into the athletic community.
Well, you know, and that's another thing too, because I was thinking about, and I'm gonna do a shameless plug for one of my co-hosts here for Roman Callister Jr. And like with a lot of the elected officials, that this is the time that they're going out and they're knocking on doors, doing a lot of walking. So maybe you can get a couple of elected officials that may be out there knocking on doors to also say that they, you know, subscribe to Ringmaster for all that walking that they do.
Yeah.
And
Well,
the
yeah,
same thing with
yeah,
athletes.
you're right. You're right.
That's a
I
good
never
idea.
thought of
That's
that.
right.
It's a very good idea.
And that idea comes from Roy McAllister, just the inspiration from Roy McAllister Jr., you know,
Okay,
looking at him
okay.
in the studio because he'll be on with the next set that we do.
Okay.
Okay.
But give your information in terms of now you are based here, or where are you based at? What city are you based
Well,
at?
we're really based out of two places. Our residents, we were Ringmaster was really born on the east side, was actually raised on the west side on Calvert. And do you know where Calvert is, Darren?
Yes, I do. Yes, I do.
Okay,
My aunt used to live right there on Calvert and Woodrow Wilson.
Okay, well,
Okay, you're further
the
over.
Sewell family, all my sisters, my three sisters, and my brother all live next door to each other on Calvert between Hamilton and Third.
Okay.
So that's where our residence office and where all of our history and materials are stored over there. Our corporate office is in Southville, right off 8 Mile and Southville Road, and so it's kind of like we're in two different places. But the history in our residence office is on Calvert.
So do you have a lot of staff? Do you have a lot of employees that work there
Family,
with you?
we have a lot of volunteers. It's like everybody, not everybody, but a lot of the family members do different things.
Okay.
It's kind of like gratuitously, you know, they're not getting paid or anything. They're just doing it because I think when we were growing up, we were indentured slaves, and we were kind of forced into this, and we just stuck with it, you know.
Yes, we are.
So
Yeah.
I'm gonna give you a chance before we wrap up, just to are there any people in particular that you'd like to kind of give a shout out, since like you said you got people that do a lot of volunteer work for your company, but is there anybody that probably would love to hear their name mentioned on the air today?
Wow.
April Morton.
Well,
April Morton, we'd like to tell her hello and thank you so very much.
Yeah.
Now, who is April Morton?
well, yeah, Darcel gave April Morton some product, and she's with Channel 4, but her husband he's running for Congress. So his name is it Maurice Morton?
Yeah,
Maurice
Maurice
Morton.
Morton for the 13th district.
Okay, yeah. So they're a lovely couple, and she works for Channel 4, and she Darcel gave them a story. And Darcel, you know it better than I do.
Yes. Well, anyway, I shared the product with them and their family over the holiday season back in Christmas time of last year. And I just shared the product with them. And one day they said that when I saw them again, they said that they had used the product and they were amazed to how well it worked. And so the conversation went on from there. And then she thought it was the story to have Channel 4 come out and interview us. And they did back in March. So that it airs on the 20th of May at 11 o'clock on Channel 4, live in the D. And she interviewed Douglas and my brother Bruce. And it was quite fun. It was quite fun, you know. Very thorough interviewer, you know. It's very good.
Yeah,
Well, I'm gonna throw this other story out to all three of you, and that Miss Willis was at a health food store trying to look for something to help with her knee,
Okay.
and they were, showing her some other products, and then when they showed her Ringmaster, and she looked at that and she said, "I got that at home."
Wow.
Wow.
And when she realized that she had it at home, she was like, "Wow, I forgot about Ringmaster. I got that. I've been had that at home for a long time."
Yeah.
And that's what, James, when I was talking to you about it, And when Miss Willis, went home and looked at the product, she saw the expiration date, that was on the product. And then she, had said, but I want to try it again and see, because it helped me then. Let me see if it helped me even with this expired bottle of Ringmaster. And she said that she put it on, and it did wonders for her.
Wow.
And she was saying, using the logic of, okay, well, if an expired bottle of Ringmaster can do what this is doing, maybe a non-expired bottle could do it even better than what it was. But that was the one thing. So James, Doug, Darcel, if you could kind of mention, because there may be an expiration date, and I know, James, we were talking about this the other day, that there may be an expiration date on it, but if you can kind of elaborate more about that.
Well, the FDA has strict guidelines, and we follow those guidelines. They've been to our office, and we follow the guidelines to the letter. But we've had many customers, honey, that
Yes,
have
yes.
This is the thing about Ringmaster, and you can use it one time, and I don't know if that's and it can really change your get the pain. I always say it stops the pain, increases circulation, increases mobility, because the body's always trying to help you out. But sometimes if you're eating the wrong foods, or you know what I mean, then it can't help you out. So people put it in the closet, they'll forget about it because it worked. If you're not in pain, you're not going to be thinking about it anymore.
Right.
So that's our story.
Well, my father used to say that there was God in every bottle. He says that some people, when they explain how they feel about Ringmaster, they say that it's liquid gold, because it penetrates the dermal layer of the skin quite rapidly. Dr. Glass has been using, he's a chiropractor. And
Herman Glass.
Herman Glass.
Dr. Herman Glass.
He's been using it in his office for 40 years. 40 whole years.
That's a
he's
long
been using.
time.
And he has a huge vac where he puts pours the oil in a warm tub. And when you go in there to visit him for the first time, you get a rub down with Ringmaster, warm. And he lays you out, they massage you. It's amazing how it makes you feel.
Yeah, he does. He believes
It's
it.
Well, as a matter
amazing.
of fact, Darcel, rather Darwin, if you go to our website, it's called Ringmaster now, and there's a video that Fox News did here locally. It's about maybe 2 minutes long, 3 minutes long. It's a great video, and that's where my father and I are talking about the Ringmaster product, and I'll give you a chance to meet him. He's what you see on Fox News is him. He's
Pouring
the guy.
oil. Pouring the oil.
Mm-hmm.
Now, the person on the bottle, this is who?
Our father.
That's your
Frank
father.
Sewell, the
Frank
inventor.
Sewell.
The inventor
Okay.
of the product.
Yes, that's our father.
Yeah, and Daddy was really the gentleman. Every time he would make a batch of Ringmaster, he would put a suit on, and we used to be so concerned about that because he was messy. He was messy, and we would say, "Daddy, you can't make the Ringmaster with a suit on." He says, "Listen, I go to the Salvation Army, and I buy a suit for $1.50. It's like a uniform."
Back then, it was about,
And because this is like 76 years we've been on the planet with this oil. But Daddy says, I go and I buy a suit for $1.50, $2. I can afford to lose $2 making the product. I'm executive here. He was an
Hey,
amazing
Darcel,
person.
do you remember once he would get oil all over his suit, he would take the suits and go in the backyard. We had this big barbecue pit, and he would burn them.
That's funny. I didn't know that. That's a good story.
He would go out and buy a new batch of suits.
That's right. And excuse me. You
No, go ahead.
What was amazing about Daddy was that in 1935 he met Edgar Casey. Douglas, is that 1935?
Yeah, right. When he was walking, he was in Dayton, Ohio. He actually grew up in Dayton, Ohio, via Georgia, Parmetta, Georgia, and then went to Dayton, Ohio. And anyway, when he was grown, he was walking past the Classic Theater in Dayton, Ohio, and Edgar Casey. I don't know if you've ever heard of him, but he was on the stage, and Edgar Casey was they call him the sleeping prophet, and he's right now to this day he has about 14,000 readings that he has done in North Fork, right outside of North Fork, Virginia. And anyway, so he asked the audience to give them a question, but just write it down, but don't give it to them. And he said that there's a man in the audience by the name of Frank Sewell who has a two-part question. One, should he move to Detroit? And number two, should he buy a new car? He said now is not the time to buy a new car, but your mission is in Detroit. And there were a number of events that happened along the way that got him here to Detroit, and that was one of those events, Edgar Casey. If you ever get a chance to look him up, he is a very interesting. I still get information from the Edgar Casey Institute, maybe once a month or so for him. But he's been deceased for a long time.
Well,
but it,
you know, I think the thing is that every time I have guests on the show, you know, it's always an educational experience for me. But we got to wrap this segment up. I definitely want to extend to you in terms of, say, Doug, Darcel, James, whenever you'd like to come back on the show.
You're fine,
We
thank you.
definitely want to give you an open invitation here from Watkins Broadcast.
Can I just add one thing?
You sure can.
Natural Food Patch is where that the product she was saying I want the product and then they recommended Ringmaster. Natural Food Patch in Ferndale.
That's where she was at,
Yeah,
right?
that's where Natural Food Patch. They've had it. Wow, I don't know how many years, 15 years, and of course at
Davis Drugs.
Yeah, Davis Drugs.
Right. West Side Pharmacy.
West Side Pharmacy. All those places have had it for
Forever.
many years. And of course, at CVS, you can, when you walk in, you see it right on the pharmacy counter. We have that privilege there. The product moves, and they.
Well, the main thing, it works.
It works.
And that's the important part.
Right.
There's so many testimonies from so many people. They can attest to how effective the product is. Darcel, Doug, James, it has been a plum-pleasing pleasure to have you here on the show with us here at WHPR TV. And again, whenever you are back here in Highland Park, our doors are always open.
Thank
to
you.
you.
by the way,
Back on.
tell RJ we said hello.
We will
Yeah,
definitely
yeah,
let
RJ.
RJ know, and there's going to be some pictures. That definitely, you will not be able to get away from here without getting some pictures with RJ Watkins.
That'd
So
be great.
Thank
we
you.
definitely want to appreciate you.
Well, thank
coming
you for
back on
having
here.
us.
Yeah,
We
thank you. We
appreciate
Thank you.
Appreciate
And,
it.
and Doug, we definitely got to have you come on so
Okay.
we can get a
Okay.
chance to see you
Yes.
the next time,
Okay.
so we can let the
Okay.
and let the grandchildren know. Grandfather's got to be out here on the set to do a show. So I wish you
Okay.
well. I know your product is continuously going to be able to allow so many people to do so many different things that they do.
Thank you very
So
much.
again,
Appreciate
we are,
it.
you know, just going to go and we're going to take another break. And when we take this break, we will be right back. So stay tuned.
I'm Wayne County Treasurer Eric Sabri. If you're behind on your property taxes, we have programs to help. You don't have to lose your house, and you don't have to pay all at once. This summer, our mobile unit will be visiting Wayne County communities to help make it easier to start a payment plan and keep your property. Go online or call to find the plan that's right for you and where you can get help from our mobile unit. The last thing I want is for anyone to lose their property to foreclosure. Make your payments every month and keep your property.
Watkins Broadcasting is going worldwide. Now you can watch Detroit's own WHPR on your TV from anywhere in the world. No matter where you are, you can stay in the know with WHPR TV and Roku. You can get your easy-to-install Roku box from wherever you shop for your entertainment gear. Once your Roku box is connected to your TV and internet, go to the channel store on the home menu of the Roku box. Enter WHPR TV in the search engine and add it to your channels. That's it. That's all you need to get the best in entertainment, news, and talk, no matter where you are. Roku brings all of your favorites to your TV. Netflix, Hulu Plus, Crackle, HBO Go, and now WHPR TV, Detroit Live.
313watkins.com. Streaming on Roku.
WGPR Detroit HD3.
You're watching WHPS, Highland Park, Detroit.
again, you are watching a live version of our Truth to Power show. I'm your host, Darwin Griffin, and we are broadcasting here in the phenomenal city of Highland Park, Michigan, under the auspices of the Honorable Mayor Glenda McDonald. And we are here live with you every Friday from 10 a.m. to 12 o'clock at WHPR TV, Watkins Broadcasting. And, today is today we'll be celebrating Mother's Day, and we'll be talking a little bit in the later segment about mothers and how mothers have been affected, by their sons or their daughters that have gone on to do great things in the community. So we're going to be joined by, several people that will be talking about their mothers and their grandmothers and other women that have been powerful influences in their lives as well as in the country's lives. But before we get started with that segment, we've got a couple other special guests that I have on the show with me today, and I want them to get an opportunity to go. The young lady in the middle between myself and my other co-host, Norm McClement from Detroit Change Initiative. He's a regular face here on this program, but I want this beautiful young lady in the middle to introduce herself and to tell you a little bit about her and what she does in the community. She and I co-hosted a forum last night for the redistricting in the 13th Congressional District. And we had a very, very invigorated group of people that came to the forum that we conducted, and it was at the Detroit Yacht Club. And we definitely want to give a lot of thanks to one of our own here at WHPR, Dr. John Telford, who was able to help us as far as, in sponsoring the event. And then I'm going to let my special guest to pretty much talk about some of the other people that were involved, in the event that we conducted last night, which was a very, very powerful and very inspiring as well as educational and informative event that we had. But Doctor.
Well, greetings, salutations. It's an honor to be here.
It is our pleasure.
And it's a gift to be in Detroit because it just blew me off that two women, two ordinary citizens, can come together and get the two top ticket 13th Congressional District candidates to come out on a public platform. It was nonpartisan. This was a public interest kind of issues we wanted to know by Detroit. Oftentimes in elections, the Detroit agenda is the third, right? The party agenda, what the state needs to do. So we wanted to talk about Detroit, but we also wanted to talk about redistricting because this is an unsung trauma, and Detroit's just full of trauma. And we're so full of trauma that we tend to forget about the last trauma because we can't live in trauma.
And
we're fighters.
We don't want people to be traumatized.
Yeah.
We want you to introduce
We
who
refuse
are you?
trauma.
Your name.
Oh, hello. I am Dr. Sunanda Samatar. I live in Grosse Pointe Park. I've worked in Detroit my whole life. I've lived in Detroit in my younger years. I'm an anthropologist. I work with Wayne County Community College and Wayne State University. And I'm just, I would like to say, a big-hearted troublemaker. Yeah.
Do you think she was a troublemaker?
No, I think it went pretty well, actually. I think it was pretty good. I feel like interesting answers from some of the candidates.
Well, I believe in hospitality so people can really open their minds and talk.
Yes.
Yeah, and so the main theme, and if you don't mind responding to this too, the main point and factor that I wanted to bring up for this platform was since redistricting, we've lost 11 out of 13 Black voting districts. Now, other ethnic groups are brewing voting districts. We could talk about Ham, I'm South Asian, I got no shame. We could talk about other districts coming together, but we can also talk about that against the legacy and history of destroying Black legacies, whether it's a housing crisis, the water crisis, EMF, emergency financial crisis, and then down to what happened, taking 11 of 13 voting blocks. But don't forget, they took the Black public schools first. We were fighting for Detroit, but at that time they took Benton Harbor, they took Marshall, right? They took Albion into Marshall. We forgot about Pontiac. We forgot about all the small Black communities that kind of are scattered from the east into the west side. And until we kind of bring together a people's platform, and a Black Michigan platform, we're not going to remedy any of these problems.
Well, I think that's part of redistricting right now, as we see. Unfortunately, you look what happened in Virginia. People went out and voted for those new maps that they had it, but their state Supreme Court said it was unconstitutional. So you had millions of dollars into a race in the budget that the state Supreme Court said 4-3, those maps don't count. They're based off of what Section 2 of the Civil Rights Act is now struck down. And so I won't be surprised, even though we have an independent redistricting commission in the state of Michigan. And remember, when they did the first map, there were concerns about the cracking of Detroit. But you did still have black leadership and still have black population in those maps. But people fought otherwise a minority-majority rule, which, unfortunately, those were one of the cases where we knew that the Supreme Court was going to strike it down. So right now, the current state House and state Senate maps, as constructed, has a minority-majority rule. Those houses right now can't be struck down. So we may see a lawsuit coming down the road about those gerrymandering maps. The flip side of those gerrymandering maps are this. There is a lot of assumption of those folks in red voting for those candidates in red. Meaning that you're basing off the vote of the population of the Latino population of some of your suburban white women or the new suburban white woman, as they call it, the modern woman, and some of those women voting Republican. That's not necessarily the case. So maybe what happens in these races depends on who has the candidates come out. Those districts are a lot weaker than what they said they are, because the numbers don't lie. The voting doesn't lie. And we saw earlier this election near Saginaw and with the state house, some of those Trump red areas overwhelmingly supported the Democratic candidate. And I think mentioned last night, some of the candidates answered that, but other candidates didn't, is that as a candidate, what have you done for the community that you're trying to serve as a candidate? And I think people didn't really think about their home, but you got to really think about that, is that what have you done? What earns you the right? Well, how do you get your hands dirty of going to serve your community before you become, you're asking them to become a congressman or state senator, but what have you really done in that community that understands you and that relationship that you built to run for that community leadership?
You just brought out two parallel, almost pernicious kind of currents. Number one, we're dividing cultural communities and separating them and diluting them into other voting blocks. Right. So even though we're talking about this as voting, we're actually breaking up communities. On top of which, now we're getting politicians who've never even served in these communities. This is almost AI.
It is AI.
It's artificial intelligence.
It is AI. And so the thing is that right now, I don't think that those who are drawing the maps, they haven't been in the community themselves, because even amongst the white community, everybody wants relationships. Everybody wants relationships building. Are you going to vote for our interests? You cannot sit there and say, I'm going to represent you and ignore everything you're going on here because I got these group of people going to vote for me. Not the case when you spread the map out like that.
Yeah. Grosse Pointe is an ethnic community. Let's say it. Why can't we say white's ethnic? Then we'd understand them. Grosse Pointe is an ethnic community. Hamtramck is an ethnic community. And you see, when you have ethnic blocks, that's when you have a variation in class. But then when you go out into like Troy, Bloomfield Hills, when you have the same class, you got a variation in ethnicity, right? But for instance, in Grosse Pointe, you can make a small income, or you can live in like $1 billion house, and you can still live in the same community because it's ethnic.
That's a good point.
Yeah.
And
we protect that. Everybody knows what Grosse Pointe's interests are. They don't have to be asked. Everybody knows what Ham's interests are. They don't have to be asked.
Then we listen to, but what the thing about is that interesting about redistricting is, are Detroit's interests going to be listened to?
Well, so Norman Salandra, talk about to our viewing audience, why are they continuously redrawing these maps?
Well, one, their current party in power fears the last year's elections. They have been losing not just in Democratic districts; they've been losing in their own districts. So they feel the way that they've been asked by President Trump to, hey, let's redraw these districts so it can hold seats in the House and state House of Representatives. So it started in Texas. Texas added more seats to Republican seats, leaning Republican seats, from the Democratic seats, and also went ahead and broke up historical black districts. And when that happens, two things can happen. One, you lose a representation of the community that's been there for a long time. The community loses a voice.
Which is what happened with Jasmine Crockett.
What happened with Jasmine Crockett's district. The second thing that happens is that you expanded more populations into that district, and you make a lot of assumptions of the past election. We understand the past election, 45% of the Latino, 48% of Latino women voted for Trump. 60% of Latino men voted for Trump. 60% of white men voted for Trump. No, I'm sorry. 70% of white men voted for Trump. 51% of white women voted for Trump. In these past elections last year, that has not been the case. His base is gone. A lot of that is based on independents. So if you're using that same alignment of those same alignment of last two election cycles, you can withdraw the districts all you want. You're still going to get a whooping because people are still mad. I don't care if you drew my district out this way. If I'm a Republican and I voted for you and I'm losing my farm, that's not going to change my vote. And so there's a lot of assumptions up there that, well, we're going to draw these districts this way. And another thing, I think the bigger reason is that they draw a district such a way to assume there's going to be a Republican vote. When it backfires on them, that's where you're going to hear election fraud. And that's where you're going to hear all the elections are stolen. There are Republicans that can't be how this happened. What they're doing is manufacturing an election fraud case. They're saying these Republican districts were Republican, but we changed it to make it super Republican, but the people didn't vote for you. Well, it got to be fraud. That's the ultimate goal. What they're trying to do is steal the elections, accuse every state across America that is fraud.
I kind of want to revisit this back to what happened with Hanson Clark, because I believe every time we did redistricting in Michigan, every time it was to the Democrat advantage so far. So how come every time we redistrict to the Democrat advantage in Michigan, it's to the disadvantage of black folk? A liberal state.
Well, there's two things. One is that when they redistricted the first time, and this is something that, majority is one thing, but it's an illusion of power. So you can have a lot of black seats in a small area with mine Detroit, but what happens is the majority seats outside Detroit vote against your interests. So if I can have most of the Democratic seats in Detroit, they're all here, but everybody else around the state is Republican, what's the point? Because all those guys around the state that are Republican are voting against Detroit. That's why for years Detroit had the highest assurance rate, redlining, had all these other stuff, because a lot of those municipalities outside of Detroit did not represent Detroit, and all the tax burden, the prices were on Detroiters. When you did the first redistricting map, when you had to share power, the state rep can't just no longer just represent Oak Park. He has to represent Detroit.
That's right.
I can't just represent Hamtramck. I got to rep part of the east side, the west side. So guess what? This redlining, whoa, wait a minute. We got to change the prices on everything. And that's what happened. And a lot of times in that, black leadership still came out of those seats. Helena Scott, Donovan McKinney, Regina Weiss, she was a white woman, but she still ran in that seat. When you change it again, then she still ran the seat. It's about who delivers the services to the people, black or white. I think that's the main thing that's happening.
Can I put in something from an old lady historic point of view? Because I'm a Du Bois fan, and I just see a lot of ethnic people and a lot of black women getting promoted in the Democratic Party, but the black men are being weeded out.
Now that right there from the not the Michigan Democrat Party side, that's been happening for a long time.
But why?
But
we're such solid voters.
Yeah.
It's so interesting because when you look at when black men speak up about what about us, then some people kind of look at them as being wronged for saying that, because it's like women are saying, what about us too? And now a lot of times you hear this is the year of the woman. And when Kamala Harris was running for president, there were a lot of women that were excited, looking at Ketanji Brown, and some of the other people that had broken that glass ceiling that most men were in. And women were coming into national prominence.
Oh, you guys are so American. In this country, there still isn't a female president or prime minister. It's been done, had everywhere else. Get over it. We are so far behind. India's done it. Pakistan's done it. Iran has done it. England has done it. Everybody's had a female leader. That's not what's going on. Black males is a problem, and that's why we can't have any kind of that's a pitch point. It'd be like an Ibrahim Traore that they're evolving out of this.
Well, not necessarily the case, because a lot of black men love their black mothers.
No,
So
I'm
we
talking
don't have a
about
problem with women leading or anything like that. Most of
Because
the
if it wasn't
No,
for
no,
women,
wait. I'm not
we wouldn't
talking
be here.
about black men. I'm talking about white patriarchy.
See, now
I'm
that's
talking about white patriarchy.
now that's different than for what.
So,
black-
I've got a case to be made in terms of this flipping around, right? So, look at the mayor of New York. Love him to death. Love him to death. Okay? I was born here, by the way. Was he born here? Okay. His mother I love to death. I went to school when she was teaching at Columbia. Do we know who his mom is? God bless you guys. I love you as a family. Do we all know who Mira Nair is? Bollywood elite. Bollywood elite. How do we get a handsome, beautiful man saying handsome, beautiful things, but he can't be black?
Well, the thing is,
We've got a Muslim South Asian leader in New York. How much black blood and bone? I mean, don't we have burial sites in New York for slaves?
we do.
And we didn't have anybody intelligent come out of that?
But the thing about that, the former mayor of New York was a black man, Eric Adams.
And what they do to him?
But Eric Adams was also a terrible candidate that he should never been put that pedestal. And so a lot of times it's not just far as there's black representation, but there's also black facing.
But
but you see what I'm saying? Like, there's black people who are, he's a black man, but just because he is a black man, does that mean he's for the people? And I think a lot of times right now, there's a great brother that's a mayor of Chicago fighting for the people right now. And so you can have representation with black men. I think black men have no problem of supporting Kamala Harris, because in the last election, over 81% of black men did vote for her in that election.
I mean the Democratic Party. I'm not talking about black men.
See, the Democratic Party
Doesn't want to support black men.
But the Democratic Party issue is there's still of eternal racism in the leadership part of the Democratic Party. Now the thing is this. There is a term for there in the Democratic Party. There's also ones straight up at the Republican Party. So the illusion is this: either way it go, I have a better chance of flipping the Democratic Party towards our side, toward that more revolutionary side, than I do to the Republican side. Because right now, if you go to as a black Republican, true black Republicans already left that party. Most of them are independents, like Michael Steele and many other black conservative Republicans. The ones that are still over there now are active in that party, who are running around, who are doing Sambo and Jumbo activities. If you ever read Uncle Tom's Cabin, everybody talking about Uncle Tom. If you really read it, it was about Sambo and Jumbo. Look into that book.
But now we got the ultimate conundrum for black folks in a democracy if we only have one party. What's a one-party system in a political science textbook? It's a dictatorship.
Well, we have a two-party system.
Yeah, but urban centers are run by the Democrats. I mean, it's basically a one-party ticket. We could say we have two parties.
But there's other parties that can participate, and that's why I asked the question. So my question is, this: like, where is? See, I'm hard on everybody, so I can see the grassroots organization, but where is the Green Party? It seems like the Green Party only comes out, flex their muscles, they get their money out during every 4 years, not even 2 years, 4 years. So right now, during the time of black plight that's going on since last year, to the time of voter rights and restrictions, it's easy to point at the party that's actually out there that are doing something, even though it's a funding mechanism. Even though right now, most of the work is being done by grassroots organizations. Where is the Green Party, Jill Stein, out there on the marches, out there going on a No King's Day? Where is she at right now? I ain't seen Jill Stein in 2 years. And so that's my issue with the Green Party, is that it's easy to indict other parties or factions of the community, but you're not outside. You have to be outside knocking doors. You got to be in the street. I could give the MDP some point of some of their party factions they're banging, they're going to each other right now. Some of those guys are out there in the street. I cannot sit there and say a Green candidate, and I can ask you, Darwin, have you seen any Green Party candidate or Green Party organization?
But then we come
doing,
back to that. But we come back to the
outside.
idea then that Detroit's agendas is the third tier priority if we're going by party lines. So if we went away from parties and we say, like, okay, we're supposed to be ruled by citizens, we're supposed to be a voluntary democratic society that organizes ourselves, grooms our own people for platforms, why don't we have public interest groups, right? We don't just need
We do.
endorse.
We got We the People. We have
we got
Detroit,
People's Platform.
People's Platform.
We
We got
should-
Detroit
yeah.
Action. You got other organizations that got plenty of those platforms out there. See, but the thing is
I
that
know what you're saying. I know what you're saying,
Saying.
but where's Detroit's agenda between all of our platforms?
because number one, I
The
think
citizens need to organize, right?
because we dictate the agenda. I think that's the issue, is that we're still waiting on somebody coming
Why are we
down.
fragmented? That's another thing about Detroit. Why? Part of it's the trauma. I'm sorry, I'll
No,
shut
no.
up after
No, no,
this.
no. You
Part of
go
it's
ahead.
the trauma, but there's a huge history of fragmentation amongst the grassroots elite that we just will not address.
In Detroit, oh, absolutely there is. 'Cause everybody works in silos. But I think that also tends with those who are not just grassroots, who are on the ground, grassroots elites, grassroots organization, a lot of gatekeeping going on right now. And understand, the reason why some of the MDP, or not some MDP, some of the Democratic Party elites don't want to deal funding mechanisms into the communities is because they don't want to deal with the new black leadership at the grassroots level that will hold them accountable. And so you don't want to deal with that, so you want to stand back office. But at the same time, that news grassroots level organizations on the ground are dictating policy. They're going to take a page book what the Tea Party did. The Tea Party came in and flipped the whole agenda of the Republican Party. Then all of a sudden, MAGA came in, flipped the agenda until what happens? The elites came in and did what they want to do. So the people are looking at that like, okay, I can't run somebody just because there's this. I'm going to run everybody against them and make sure our agenda is heard on our platforms.
So do you think there's a turning point for grassroots in Detroit now?
There's a turning. There's been a turning point for the last 2 years.
Nice.
Since the election of 24, I think the 24 election was an election where grassroots organizations sat back, played the game. We were quiet. We're going to do all out. Saw that there was a switch at the top of the ticket, but even during the top of the ticket, there was no investment in the community. And so right now, that's why you see Democrats at approval rating at 33%. A lot of this is coming from in the House saying, hey, release the autopsy. Hey, this ain't wrong. Hey, that message is wrong right there. Hey, don't do that. Don't do it. Because nobody is sitting down waiting because the stakes are too high. And I think some from the old, the new, the clashes going on, me personally, I kind of like it because guess what? This is the banging. This is the workout season. Game time is going to be in November. That's the Super Bowl. That's our game time. So get all the kinks out that you want right now. Get them on the schedule. But at the end of the day, the people dictate what happens in the party. And I think right now there's still a clash of elitism that is still there at the national level of the party that has been called out but hasn't been released. If they release that document, you find out they're still there, those folks won't be there no more, and you have a new voice in the party to get on the ground.
But how about at the state level?
At the state level, I think that fights are happening at the state level right now. I think that fighting, infighting, you saw what happened at the convention. You saw what happened to organizing at the convention. You saw those young people who came back.
There's a real struggle going on.
There's a struggle going on, but
Yeah.
you saw those young people who came back. The guy got whipped last time. These young people came back, organized, they rallied, and they got their people through. They did what we thought the young people were supposed to do. They did that. And so the thing is that there's so many organizations nationally are working in just trying to get that conversation to galvanize that young voter who said, skip it, I don't want to vote. Now they see gas is about to be $7. Their lives are changing. They can't get student loans. They can't get financial aid. And on top of that, you took all the DEI programs, but you want me to go and sign up and fight for a war that I'm not supporting. They're seeing all that. These questions are happening right now. And so they're willing to say, okay, man, what's the plan? What's the goal? Hey, we ain't for that. I can't ride with that. You can't sit down and tell me to shut up. Talk to me. Have a real conversation. I'm not following you blindly. Tell me what's going on. And that's what the organizations on the ground are doing right now. It's just that the people in those areas, if the Democratic Party or MDP, have to listen to it. We know the Republican side is not listening to it. They had a crazy show at their convention nobody's talking about it. But their stuff is far worse than what it is.
Do tell.
I mean, they had screaming matches, boos.
They booed
John
James,
James.
right.
And so we talk about, we're highlighting all the stuff with the Democratic Party. A lot of times we do this on ourselves,
All the parties do that.
All the parties
Across
do.
the world, boo. Yeah,
It's
like football.
happens like that. But across this, it's a notion where you're trying to pit, and this is manufactured notion where we have a news media that's trying to manufacture
'Cause
this
is
whole
primary
primary
culture.
time.
This is primary culture.
It's about,
Yeah.
who doesn't do this, who doesn't do this, remembering the past. It's easy to blame Rashida Tlaib or Abdul for not supporting Kamala Harris or the uncommitted vote, not understand why they were voting uncommitted on
I sure do.
Yeah, I understand. And
I'm very uncommitted to Kamala. Hello.
Okay, but at the same time, did you vote? Or
Yes, I
also,
voted.
did you vote? And so the thing is this, also 500,000 black folks didn't vote. And so that is another issue. That wasn't just about Kamala. That's just about the.
But that's a statement as far, because you can't even buy 90% of the black vote. They won't come out. Like, do you remember that David Chappelle reel? Like, he had a bunch of people up there saying, like, what can we do to make things better? No matter what people said, it was kind of right. And then one person said vote, and he's like, wrong. I mean, how could he make that into a skit unless people thought, listen, people fought for the right to vote, but there is a mechanism that justifies the vote, and that mechanism we need to question. Remember Biden in the Iowa, the first Iowa primary? That new voting system was also funded by Epstein. You remember it fell apart. Now we have digital voting. I know for a fact that a lot of the mail-in ballots that were mailed into Detroit, the way they opened up with the tape, some of the information was destroyed. They were throwing away bushels of mail-in ballots. So I don't know what's going on federal level, but Detroit hasn't had a fair vote for 40 years.
Well, I mean, that's something that they got to check into. I mean,
And that's right here, ground level.
ground level. And
Yeah.
so that right there, I can't speculate to that because I know I worked at the clerk's office at my time, and I used to accuse and say the elections are rigged until I worked at the clerk's office. When I worked at the clerk's office, I see the process is the process. A lot of our older voters voted early. A lot of them put them in the mailbox. A lot of them put them in the drop box. A lot of people vote how they vote. Now, the problem is a lot of people spoil their votes because they filled out the ballot incorrectly. So the vote is spoiled. And so they lose that. And I think that's about from the ballot application.
But we're still blaming the voter.
No, but that's somebody. Well, it's not. See, here's the thing about voting. Is this, and there's also we gotta be also real about taking some accountability of us as an education system, as a civic system. Okay, you voted, but what else are you supposed to do? As a community member, if I voted, that means if I'm voting for a community member or anybody who's a block captain or anything like that, I still gotta take my garbage out every Thursday. I still gotta do the community work every day. As a voter, if I voted for that somebody, if I voted for anybody on the skin, it's still my job to say, hey man, you ain't running the program how we supposed to.
But I'm an anthropologist. I'm not against anybody. This is just storytelling, okay? Right. The same year that Colin Powell came in and said we had a 75 illiteracy rate, we had a write-in campaign for a mayor who won.
That is a great point. That right there, I cannot argue with you right there. That right there, and in these days,
I'm just
that
saying,
boggles the mind.
I don't understand things.
That's a great point. I
don't get it. I don't have no evidence. I don't get it.
Two Mike Douglas were running.
And that was the thing that was so interesting because, some people did not know how to spell his name. Some people didn't know in terms of, say, was he Democrat, was he Republican? And then a lot of people just really did not know and had the same adage in their minds, write-in candidates don't win.
And the vote had been weaponized through the casino process because the last time you wanted to vote against the casino, you said yes. And if you wanted the casino, you had to vote no. That was the last time. How many referenda until we finally had to go back to work?
So I wonder in that election.
They weaponized the vote on a lot of levels.
And so a lot of levels they do. But I think that election alone, you want to look at and see how many people went out to vote on that election.
So let me ask this question now.
I got to ask that question.
We got a primary coming up. August 4th. How do you think the voters are going to come out on August the 4th to support candidates of their liking?
Oh, it's going to be... Everybody says it's going to be a low turnout. I'm sorry.
When you say low turnout,
I'm saying maybe normal turnout at 4 or 5% turnout, 9% turnout. No, I think we're going to have about a 20% turnout.
More young people, yeah.
More young people, more people who are upset. More people want something to say. People want to make sure that they get their people out to vote. This is not just a referendum. This is going to be a check on a lot of things. I think also it's going to be a check on how the parties ran. I would not be. This is going to be a high. People are itching to vote.
Well, let me say this because we got to wrap up in a few minutes. But
Already?
Doctor, right, this time goes by so fast.
Yeah.
But I just want to let you make, what is your elevator speech that you would give to people that may not be interested in voting, why they should vote?
Why you should vote is because you lost your recorder's court. You've lost everything else you have. You've lost your houses. We've lost your water. We vote so people keep coming to us and asking us for our votes because if they don't, they shut off our services. If we don't vote, we literally do not exist on the government's map. We don't exist. We are not citizens without voting.
I mean, that's the number one speech right there. But also, once you vote, it is your job to hold every elected official accountable that you voted for. The vote is one thing. I need you to go to those coffee hours. I need you to meet them. I need to know the chief of staff person. Make sure they know that the people that you support. But if they did some wrong and they voted not against your interests, you let them know.
You know what? I wish we had an abstention vote. They don't let us come to say we were here and you suck. People would line up for an abstention vote. We would probably increase if people just came to say none of the above.
Right now, and Louisiana actually has
its own vote.
Louisiana right now is in an election process, and the governor is stopping that election in mid-process. There's a recall effort right now for Louisiana governor right now. People are upset. Over 400,000 people already voted, and you're going to stop the election in mid-sentence to do a map to honor Donald Trump. So, and right now, there's mechanisms. If we have a recall mechanism in Michigan, oh man, it would be crazy, but our laws are not such that way. But there's a recall right now going on the governor of Louisiana right now. And it's getting full steam ahead.
Well, before we wrap, I want Sunanda, if somebody wants to get more information from you or to have you to possibly come and speak at their events, how would they contact you?
Oh, shoot. Samadar Sunanda.
No, that's not how
where are my students? Samadar, Samaddar, Sunanda, Sunanda @gmail.com. My name is Sunanda Samadar, or you can find me under the Wayne County Community College website. I'm an anthropologist. Come take a class in evolution. I believe in God.
You can reach us out to info@dcimovement.org or go to www.dcimovement.org on Instagram and Facebook.
And before we make this final wrap, any predictions in November?
November? I
So
think
we know first people got to get past August.
August.
But and then lastly, I'm gonna throw this other caveat. So I'm putting an addendum to my question. Norman, you know, we were there. Sanandi, we were there at the convention. There's a lot of talk now about people that are upset because of the way the results came out and how people voted at the convention. Do you think that there may be another convention, or do you think that we may vote again for those candidates? Because, you know, State Senator Sylvia Santana is really not happy with the way that those results came out, because she only lost by 15 votes for that trustee board from Michigan State University.
And it should have triggered a recount, right?
And Oakland prosecutor Karen McDonald is also taking objection with the way that the vote came out.
And I think all what happened at there should be an audit. Now, is there going to be another convention? I will say no. But I will say this: if November goes their way, I think in December, when there's going to be a debrief about everything's going to happen, I think that debrief is going to be very, 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 very hostile, respective, and interesting. And unfortunately, some heads are going to roll. Even if you win, lose. Even if you win, so if you lose, everybody gone. It don't even matter. But when you win, there's some folks that are going to be in winning positions that did their job and they won. But hey,
it might be different. We got to wrap. So we're going to ask you to come back. We're going to ask you, Norman, to always come back whenever you like to. And we got to take a break. Thank you, doctor. And thank you to the other doctor, Norman Clement. But we want to thank you. So we're going to take a break. When we come back, we're going to talk about a special day that's coming up on Sunday, which many of you know is Mother's Day. So stay tuned. You're not going to want to miss it.
I'm Wayne County Treasurer Eric Sabri. If you're behind on your property taxes, we have programs to help. You don't have to lose your house, and you don't have to pay all at once. This summer, our mobile unit will be visiting Wayne County communities to help make it easier to start a payment plan and keep your property. Go online or call to find the plan that's right for you and where you can get help from our mobile unit. The last thing I want is for anyone to lose their property to foreclosure. Make your payments every month and keep your property.
Clean up on aisle 5. Sounds like my life right now. Just one big mess.
What's going on?
It's my property taxes.
What?
I am behind and I am so worried that I'm going to lose my house. I can pay some of it, but I can't pay it all at once.
Sorry to interrupt. I'm Eric Sabri, the Wayne County Treasurer. The last thing I want is for anyone to lose their property to tax foreclosure. We have assistance programs to help.
For more information, go to treasurer.waynecounty.com.
We're here to help.
Justice for Mario Willis. Truth. Facts. Evidence. Mattered. Log into justiceformariowillis.com. Read for yourself.
All media platforms are engaged.
Copy.
Get ready to launch your show or product.
Periscope ready. We're 5x5 ready to launch. Copy that.
Trend worldwide across all major platforms.
Ignition. 3, 2, 1.
The world is waiting. Watkins Broadcasting. More than just TV.
313watkins.com.
streaming on Roku.
Have you ever wanted your own TV show? Have you dreamed of showcasing your talent for the world to see? Well, now you can. Have your own TV show. You can have your own 30-minute show. Not only will you be seen in the Detroit area, but you can be viewed worldwide. For more information, call 313-868-6612. Visit our studios and receive a free TV interview to promote your business, church, or organization by appointment only.
Muscles, joints, or feet tired, achy, or distressed? Tried everything? Ringmaster Rubbing Oil is a vintage topical pain reliever, trusted for over 70 years, with a rich formula for the treatment of stubborn aches and pains. Packaged in a glass bottle for purity, our liquid can also be used in warm water for foot soaks and compresses. A little goes a long way. Try our time-tested formula, available in several sizes.
Make a donation to WHBR TV and receive 2 2-ounce bottles of Ringmaster Rubbing Oil for $25. Call 313-868-6612.
The show that you know and love is moving to a new day, place, and time. Packed with real stories and issues, On the Floor is now airing every Wednesday at 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. With the capable and incomparable host, Dr. Tara Defoe, dig into real advice and receive restoration for your soul. It's a new time and place, so get ready to be informed and get motivated. On the Floor with Dr. Tara Defoe every Wednesday at 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time.
Let me tell you about a lady, just trying to live right. Always true and never shady, never gonna fuss or fight. Yeah. Had 3 girls, raised them well. Got a story to tell, but Miss B gonna be Miss B. Miss B, she gon' keep it quiet. Small frame, big heart, show you love from the start. And if she only had one loaf left, she gon' give you part. Yeah. Gonna pray for you, give her lies to you. She gonna feed you, but never need you. Work hard, praise God. Work hard, praise God. Praise God, work hard. Yeah. And it's a day, let's celebrate. Let's celebrate. It's a day, let's celebrate. Let's celebrate. When they ask about her, just know. When God made her, he broke the mold. It's a day, let's celebrate. It's a day, let's celebrate. When they ask about her, just know. When God made her, he broke the mold. She's more than
good morning, and again, welcome. You are watching a very special edition of Truth to Power. I'm your host, Darwin Griffin, and we are joined by two of the main people here at WHPR TV, and we are asking you, if you don't get a chance to watch us live, you can go on 313 Watkins and be able to go and see this segment again, over and over again. As I mentioned in the top of this show, that we have a very, very warm, and we would like to extend a happy Mother's Day to all the mothers that will be celebrating on Sunday, as well as to all of the women in lives who have brought so many people joy in their lives, from the mothers, the aunts, the sisters, the grandmothers, and others, and also the foster mothers that will be celebrating on Sunday. And we know that when people go to worship on Sunday, it's such a very joyous occasion to see the women recognized in the churches with their hats, their lapel flowers on. And I know that Maxine Willis, R.J. Watkins, our president here at WHPR TV, have a lot of thoughts about their mothers and the women that have made an impact in their lives. I want to thank Roy McAllister Jr. and his wife Polly, who mothered some great sons that he has in his life and her life. And we want to also thank anyone who has also had the opportunity to have a mother that made and meant so much to them, who may have transitioned, as my mother, Hilda Griffin, and my grandmother, Carrie Harris. So we want to give thanks to all those mothers, and how much we appreciate, how much love we have for all of them that have done so much to make and shape us to be the people that we are. But in this segment, we want to have the pleasure of having Maxine Willis, who is our general manager, our station manager, and our all-around everything here at this station.
She's our mother.
She is the grandmother of this station, with everything that she does, and she comes in here every
just like a mother
time, and she dotes on us like she goes and makes certain we have juice or we have water in our cups. She even makes sure that she turns the cups around to make sure that the cups show this is WHR TV. She also makes certain that all of our guests are taken great care of, as Roy, as Norman, as Dr. Sananda, and others that we've had on this show. They leave away from here, and the first thing that they say is that she is one of the most gracious women that they have ever met. And I would truly say to Maxine Willis, and I know that her son Marvin is looking down at her right now, and I know that Mario is looking across the state at her and is saying, yes, our mom is truly an earthly angel.
Yes.
One of God's earthly angels, and there's so many that are here on this earth walking around with us on a regular basis. But I also want to mention too that we have our president of WHPR TV, R.J. Watkins. He's the man. He's the legend. I know he doesn't like to be called the legend, but he is the man that was the visionary.
Yes.
To allow us to have this station, and this station was birthed from WGPR. And RJ wants to talk a little bit about a person that really inspired him, that helped him to become the person that he is, and the person that has allowed us to be able to go and give our thoughts, our viewpoints, our opinions, and to be able to go and entertain you on Truth to Power, Chats and Chuckles, and other shows that we have here at WHPR TV.
Yes.
But again, thank you to Maxine Willis, R.J. Watkins. We're going to talk about the moms that have inspired and have shaped our lives. But R.J., I'll go to you first and let you talk about giving some reflections about who inspired you.
Well, of course, my father did. And my father, Dr. Banks, Mr. Keys, Coleman Young, Sr., a lot of great men, Mr. Watts, Ben Crosby, John Maxey. There was a lot of people that helped me and inspired me. But I can't forget, I thought about how it all began. I wanted to do this, and my father thought I was crazy. As a matter of fact, they had me, they signed me up to go to the crazy house when I was about 8 years old. But that's another story. And my dad, so I thought I would go to my mom and ask my mom for permission to do television, just to experiment in it. And my mama said, "Boy, ain't no black people on TV." And Daddy called me all kind of names. Beep, beep, he's just I think that was in the early 70s, middle 70s. Right before GPR came out, or GPR was out then. And he just said, no, he wanted to put things on he wanted to bet on solid things. Car wash. He started washing cars, and then he owned the gas station. He washed the cars in. He owned the gas station, and then he had about 3 or 4 of them. Then he went to a store, convenience store. He bet on tangible things. And not that TV is not tangible, but he couldn't see it, even though he wanted to be an entertainer when he came to Detroit. But he had me and my sister. But anyway, my grandmother, my father's mother, I asked my mother, I don't know why I thought I needed permission to do TV. I don't know. I guess we had to get permission from Mom and Daddy.
Oh yeah.
If we wanted to do something.
That's right.
And Mama said, I don't see it, boy. I talked to Daddy. And Daddy questioned me, and after he finished calling me all those extra names, he said, no. So something told me to ask Fannie Mae Watkins. She's a parent. Matter of fact, she's a parent over the parents.
That's right.
If she say yes, I would have my verbal okay. I was on the side of the store. Grandma stayed in back of the store, and we had a house on back of the store, and we had the store on Jerome. I asked Grandma, and she quizzed me a little bit, and she has those little Chinese. She was black, but she had Chinese eyes.
Wow.
So there's some Chinese somewhere in our family. And she shifted her eyes, and she asked me, "Do you think you could do that?" I said, "Yeah, Grandmama, I can do it." And she said, "Do it, boy."
Wow.
And I happened to
Yeah.
I don't have a picture of her. I have one, but I couldn't find it because we've been moving things around. And we owe this to Grandma.
Amen.
Well, RJ, I want to ask you, as I ask a lot of guests, what is the one word that she would use to describe you? What would she say if she was here in this station right now, and she said, "There's R.J. Watkins"? What word would she use to describe you?
That's my crazy baby.
She would say, I'm sorry, crazy baby?
That's my crazy baby.
Granny. Granny.
Grandma say anything. That's my crazy baby. I know we can do it. Yeah, that's the crazy one.
And how did that make you feel when she would say that was the crazy? How would you feel?
I felt at home. Mama, Daddy called. I mean, that was my middle name. I didn't know no better.
I mean, it was so interesting how you had terms of endearment, but that's not quite the term of endearment, I would think.
Well, it was. I was the crazy one. I would just do things. I would see things and I would do it. Just do it. Well, they did it, and I thought I could do almost anything.
And you were one of how many siblings?
My sister Rose first. I was second. Phyllis, the late Phyllis. Allgood Watkins was third. The late Gary Watkins was fourth. And then Shirley Bird, we call her. She's another mama, the baby. And then we have Ariana. Anna. Daddy had another baby outside of mama. It was 6 of us. 6 of us. Yeah.
And so, who of your sisters? Who were you the closest with of your sisters?
Well, I took care of I took care of all of them, to tell you the truth. But Rosa, I got her first apartment. I took her baby, Felicia.
Sure did.
Felicia was my baby. But we were a tight family.
But you can see, even as a young kid, that Mr. Watkins always thought outside the box. That's why this family thought, where did this kid come from? He's crazy. Anybody doing that? But God gave him a special gift, even as a kid, that it's whatever he wanted to accomplish. He saw life as, if this is a dream that I have, I can fulfill this dream. And the reason he's so emotional today, which this station has always, every Mother's Day, we have a special tribute to the mothers, because there are so many mothers who are responsible for the prayers and why this station is here today. Every day, Roy, at noon, the mothers would gather in the lobby. Our Jay's mother, Bertha Harris, and they would pray up a storm.
Mrs. Marbley.
Miss Marbley, your mom, Mother Watson. I mean, every day at noon. And sometimes people would say, Mr. Watkins,
we shouldn't be praying.
You shouldn't be praying.
Y'all should take that.
You're taking it in the back room. And his position was, if you got a problem with it, then you come in after the prayer. But this prayer is going forth in this building. And that's why we give honor, not just this day, but every day, to the mothers who shaped our lives and who helped us fulfill our dreams. And you can see why this station has such a heart for people, for the community. And it started with this man right here. He's still thinking outside the box. He comes up and tells us certain things and visions, and we're like, so how are we going to do that?
That's crazy.
But we've learned over the years.
You call me crazy too.
Yeah, sometimes you call me crazy. And but you can't hurt his feelings. You can't hurt his feelings. But we're just blessed to have so many mothers who have impacted our lives. And I thank you so much for the kind words that you said about me here at the station. It's just a manifestation of what I saw as a young woman growing up under Edith Elizabeth McKinney, who hospitality was her claim to fame. And I thank God for that example that she set for me, to treat people not only the way you want to be treated, exceed that. And I think the greatest title a woman can have is of a mother. And we thank God today for the mothers who've helped shape our lives.
And we know that you are a mother, and you have 2 young men that you brought into this world. You had Marvin and Mario. And I'm going to ask you, looking at the standpoint from what Mario would say or from what Marvin would say, what would the one word that they would use to describe, each of them, that they would use to describe their mom?
That's a good question because, first of all, God gave me the greatest gift that any mother could ever have. They say children are a gift from God, and mine are certainly a gift. And the thing about Mother's Day was a special day, but my boys treated me like it was Mother's Day every day. And they would always just say, you know, Mom, you are the best. You are the best. And I used to say to them, you all are the best. And I used to tell them all the time, because of how they honored their mother and father, I would say to them, you all are going to be blessed. And they would say, we already are. We have you. So I would treasure those moments as a mother, and that's why I'm so excited about what we're doing here today in this station. And for those mothers who never had anyone to say to them, I love you, we thank God for you, you're going to hear it today on WHPR TV. We love everyone that's a mother, whether you're a biological mother or whether you are mothering a child, or mothering, as I mother these adults right here. And I thank Mr. Watkins for wanting to give honor to his grandmother,
Fannie Mae.
Fannie Mae.
Fannie Mae
And the thing that's so interesting, that the first thing Miss Fannie Mae said, Mr. Griffin, do you want to do this? Do you want to do it? Because, you know, if you want to do it, then you can get it done. And that's what our young people need to hear.
Right.
They need to be encouraged and motivated. And that's what we hope will come out of this segment.
Right.
That we have to raise the bar with our kids, give them the challenge. But the most important thing we have to do is listen. Listen to them.
Right.
Let's hear them.
That's what she said.
And you know, and one of the biggest keys that people need to realize too is that mothers raised us.
Yes.
But the thing is that there gets to be a time when the mothers may not be able to do some of the things that they did for their sons and daughters.
That's right.
And now, young people, you need to make certain that you let those moms and dads know as they get older, they may need more of you in their lives to help care for them, like you were saying, RJ, that you did with your grandmother. And then how others may have done with their grandmothers or even their mothers. Because there's a time when that cycle of life goes around.
That's right.
And we have to remember that. RJ?
I wonder if she wouldn't have told me, if she wouldn't give me the nod, what would I be doing now?
Yeah.
What do you think you'd be doing now?
I'd be crazy. She allowed me to put my energy.
That's right.
In a positive way and develop a masterpiece.
Absolutely.
So tell a little bit about her. What was her
Fannie Mae.
background?
Oh my
What was her
God.
background?
Fannie Mae, Macon, Georgia. She was, you didn't mess with Fannie Mae. She swore she had all kind of money, but she didn't have no money. She said, boy, when I die, you ain't gonna have nothing to worry about. I haven't found that money yet.
But you know what she meant? It wasn't money like this. It was that wisdom.
Yeah, okay.
That wisdom
I'll
that she was
accept.
talking
I'll
about.
accept
That's
that.
right.
But
That's right.
a special prayer, please.
Wisdom and prayer.
Lizzie, she was great too. All the mothers are great, but I just wanted to say something special to Fannie Mae because I never talk about her. I never talk about Mama, Lizzie, other people's grandmother and mother, but I don't remember bringing up Fannie Mae. And I said, I got to.
That's right.
I got to. And maybe she didn't want to be seen because I couldn't find her picture. But I'm going to find it, Grandma. I'm going to find that picture. I'm going to blast it all on TV. And I'm going to get Roy to help me look for that. But I just thank you, Grandma. Thank you. I don't know why. Kids today don't ask their parents for permission. I think I was asking her for permission to do. Not to own a station, not to have a studio. That's many moons down the line. But just to go on TV. Daddy helped me when I was singing. He thought I could be a singer, but my voice changed, and he thought the best thing for me to do was to open another store. But I wanted to venture off into television. And before he died, before he was murdered at the store, he thanked me for not listening to him. Wow. He said, I'm sorry for not coming to your graduation. He was closing the deal on the store then. I'm sorry for not coming to your wedding. And I'm sorry for not listening to you about marrying this other girl. But I'm glad you didn't listen to me. You knew something. I didn't see it. I am so glad you went on with your first mind on television. Matter of fact, when we put him in the mausoleum at Woodlawn, yes, the week before then, he says, when are you going to get the radio station on the air?
Oh, wow.
Because we was on Woodward then. When are you going to get your radio station on the air? I want to do a blues show. I said, Daddy, we're going to have it real soon. They told me don't turn it on until I get the license. Wow. And then the day we put Daddy in the mausoleum, I came to the office. There was a big yellow envelope on my chair. I sat down. I said, I got up. I said, what the FCC want? I said, FCC? And I opened it, and it was the broadcast license.
Broadcast license. Look at God. Look at God and Fannie Mae.
So, I don't know.
Well, RJ, Maxine Willis, we got shorten this time.
Yeah.
Because we've got another show coming on. But RJ, again, we thank you for all that you've done.
Yes.
And we thank those ladies and men in your life that helped to bring you to go and do what you've done and to do what you will do in the future.
That's
right.
So
again, we thank you for that.
We'll have a part two of our Mother's Day special with the pictures. We had so many pictures that came in, and we did volume 2. So that'll be on tonight or tomorrow. So.
Well, you've heard that from our president,
R.J.
right. Watkins.
Yes.
He said we will have a part 2 to this segment, and we will have some tissue just in case of that segment.
No, I'm not coming on.
But to you, Maxine Willis, we know that Marvin is looking at you. We know that Mario is thinking of you, and we know that when you talk to Mario later today, you can let him know how much we made mention of his beautiful mom. And again, I just want to thank Hilda Griffin. God rest her soul.
Yes.
It could be in this part 2. I could tell some stories that she used to tell about her son, Darwin. So that'll be a part 2 story. I might need some tissue when we do that part 2. But again, want to thank to Roy McAllister. Want to thank his beautiful wife Polly for allowing him to get an opportunity to come and spend some time with us at WHPR TV. And again, to all the mothers, we want to wish them a very, very happy Mother's Day on behalf of WHPR TV. And you can again watch this segment, 313 Watkins.
Yes.
Please.
Yes, 313 Watkins.
Keep us
we will have
in your hearts and prayers, because we will continue to bring real news with real people. Have a great weekend.
Thank you, Fannie Mae. Thank you, Fannie Mae. Viola, Lizzie. Thank you. Thank you all my mothers. All my mothers. Miss Jackson, Gloria Lee. All my mothers. Thank you. 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 Thank you.
I'm supposed to want to mention someone that.
Just want to thank all the mothers who are raising gifts that God has given us all. And just tell someone today, I love you. Thank you, Mom, for all that you've done, all that you're doing, all that you're going to do.
Thank you again. Again, we're signing off. Have a great Mother's Day.
Thank you, Fannie Mae. Thank you.
Happy Mother's Day from all of us at WHPR TV 33.
Let me tell you about a lady, just trying to live right. Always true and never shady, never gonna fuss or fight. Yeah. Had 3 girls, raised them well. Got a story to tell, but Miss B gonna be Miss B. Miss B, she gon' keep it quiet. Small frame, big heart, show you love from the start. And if she only had one loaf left, she gon' give you part. Yeah. Gonna pray for you, give her lies to you. She gonna feed you, but never need you. Never need you. Work hard, praise God. Work hard, praise God. Praise God, work hard. Yeah. And it's a day, let's celebrate. Let's celebrate. It's a day, let's celebrate. Let's celebrate. When they ask about her, just know. When God made her, He broke the mold. It's a day, let's celebrate. It's a day, let's celebrate. When they ask about her, just know. When God made her, He broke the mold. She's more than a mother. She's like a queen. Like a queen, yeah. And if you ever had the chance to be in her life, you know just what I mean. So let's celebrate her. Celebrate her. Every day and every night. I thank God all the time. All the time. To have this special woman in my life. Yeah. And it's a day, let's celebrate. It's a day, let's celebrate. When they ask about her, just know. When God made her, He broke the mold. It's a day, let's celebrate. It's a day, let's celebrate. When they ask about her, just know. When God made her, He broke the mold. More than a mother. I thank God all the time. To have a special woman in my life.